Hi, Ezra.
Hey, thanks for having me on the show.
Hey, wow. I knew your interesting personality and very colorful, interesting, unique, and all of these words. I don't know. They totally apply to the space that you're in right now.
I did not know this was a video podcast, for the record. That's my fault. I apologize. But yeah, this is my office. I feel like your physical space is a manifestation of your mental space. And if you do not have a clean, fun, well put together physical space with objects that are meaningful to you, you are missing out on an opportunity to enjoy your work life. And one of the things that I stand for very strongly is that throughout everything, the goal is enjoyment. If you're not having a good time, you shouldn't be doing it. And it doesn't mean that you don't work hard and really go for it, but it does mean that like you get to choose whether or not you enjoy what you're doing. And so I bring fun to whatever I'm doing, and I find that by bringing fun, people want to join the party. So you end up with more help, more support, more people. So yeah, this is my office. These are some of my objects.
It looks awesome. So that's exactly the topic I'd like to chat with you about today. You said that, you set up everything so that you are not bored, that you enjoy your life, enjoy your work, right? And that's the thing, right? Once you are in the business for a bit, and I guess I have all kinds of motorcycles going on here. I'm in Turkey, so you will hear the mosque prayer coming on very soon. There will be a few
Cool.
police cars pass by, a few motorcycles right in the next to the sea view here. So the key question that I wanted to discuss with you today is, what do those entrepreneurs that are already in the business for a while do? Especially those who jumped on with me onto Amazon since 2014 or 15, the gold rush started, right? And many of us jumped on the train. But we are all entrepreneurs and we are very, how to say, jumpy. It's hard to stick with the same thing for a long time. So I wanted your perspective, how to try, and should we even stick with the same thing? Is it time to sell? Like, what we do? We are like 6-7 figure seller right now, let's say, and people who are watching, most of us are like that. So what's the state right now? Do we continue creating beautiful space around us and continue the same thing, but it gets a little bit boring? So how do we make it interesting? What do you do personally? I'm curious about that.
You know, Amazon has been such a wild ride since I started my first Amazon business at the end of 2012. And like you said, it's been the gold rush. And then basically, as of the last 18 months, there's been a bit of a plateau effect across many sellers where people feel like they're working hard, and they're just not seeing that same spike in growth year over year, or that same easy ability to rank products. And it's like, well, this is a common trend in business, which is you have this peak and then you have a plateau, and then sometimes you have a dip and sometimes you have another peak, and we're not sure where Amazon is going to go. And should you continue in the direction of a business if it's working? Yes. And here's why. Because people forget, after they've been in a business for a while. I've been running my own businesses since 2005. So I've been doing this for a long time. I have 100 team members. My companies do well over 25 million a year. I started as a solopreneur by myself with no money, not funded, working a full-time job. So I've really traveled the path of kind of every stage of entrepreneurship to now being a CEO of 3 different companies, one of them 8 figures, 2 7 figures, having a bunch of team members. And I can tell you, people forget how hard it is to start something. You think, oh, this is boring, it's monotonous, I don't like it, I'm going to go start something new. There's a saying in the South of the United States called feed your stallions and starve your ponies. Something is working. I don't really like that analogy, but it makes a good
Yeah, the
point, which is like,
ponies. Why the ponies?
point. Yeah, don't starve the ponies. I'm not for that. But my point is, if something is working, keep pushing it. Push it as hard. Push that snowball. Take whatever energy that it has, whatever money it's making, put it right back into it. Work a side hustle to pay your bills, and just keep pushing, because that thing is your most valuable asset, because you could sell it one day. And over 50% of the money you will make from a company comes the day you sell it. It does not come from the cash flow you pull out of it every month. And people are not thinking about that. They're thinking about having to run the business and the monotony of it, and they only get a little bit of money from it. They're not thinking about the asset value and how hard it is to start something. And generally, if you're burnt out, it's not a function of the business practice. It's a function of you're not taking care of yourself physically. You're not moving your body. You're not meditating. You're not taking care of your emotional life where you don't have hobbies. You're not investing in your social life. You're not eating well. You're like doing these things that result in lethargy in your physical and mental body. And then you feel that in the business, but it is not a function of the business. It's a function of your own behaviors, your own habits outside of your business that are creating this state of being that is not serving you in your business. And so I would say, if you're feeling burned out, start working only 4 days a week. Use those other 3 days to invest in your relationship, invest in your social life, go get a hobby, take care of your body, eat well, sleep well, like do the things that cultivate energy and then use that energy for your business.
You said very interestingly that at some point you can sell. Most of us Amazon sellers, we reinvest so much back into the business, and the bigger we grow, the more we reinvest, and the cash flow issue is such a big problem, right? So we actually cash out very, very little for ourselves, So I was thinking, when is that right time to sell? Like you said, maybe that is the point when you feel like you've done everything you could with your creative powers and you already have some new idea forming up in the background somewhere. Is that the right time then?
Generally, the best time to sell is when the business is at 70% of its capacity, because it's on an upswing and you can say to a buyer, look, these 3 things, if you add more products, if you spend money outside of Amazon, if you run a couple product launches, if you do these 3 things, it'll continue to grow. That's when it's at its peak value, when it's on the way up. Once it's plateaued, it's not as valuable as when it's growing. Generally, an Amazon business is going to sell for between a 1 and a 3 multiple of its yearly profit. So if you have an Amazon business and that yearly profit is everything that's left over after cost of goods and advertising and Amazon fees, right? The inventory that you're carrying counts as profit. Whatever money you pay yourself counts as profit. Whatever money is left over that you're keeping to float the company counts as profit. So let's say your company makes $100,000 a year in profit, right? That company is worth $100,000 to $300,000 in liquid capital. The experience of receiving $100,000 to $300,000 in liquid capital all at one time is very different than $5,000 a month over 12 months or 10 grand a month over 12 months. And so I would recommend, if you feel competent and confident that you can rebuild another one, and I know many people who do this, they build Amazon businesses and sell them and then build them and sell them because they feel confident they can go back in with the skill set they have and with the capital that they have gotten from their last business and replicate it. And Amazon is inherently volatile. You have, other sellers attacking you with negative reviews. You have counterfeiters trying to, steal your buy box. You have Amazon backdooring you and taking your suppliers and selling your stuff. I mean, there's so many things that can go wrong that I am a big fan of the liquidation of Amazon businesses when they're on their upswing. I just sold an Amazon business in January of this year. I believe strongly in using Amazon as cash flow. So building it up, selling it. And I think more sellers who have the skill sets we do, who understand how to pick products, who understand how to market products, who understand how to source and create good product offers, who understand how to optimize their listings, who understand how to run Amazon sponsored search and Amazon Media Group ads, and who understand the game, could take a larger view than I'm just trying to run businesses for the cash flow, and could look at it as I'm investing in developing assets that I liquidate. I think it's a bigger game and a better game and a more profitable game.
I'm curious about your own personal mindset change through the years. So you said you started in 2005, and it's been many years since. We all start somewhere, and we sort of earn, like, we want the money first, right? You catch the money. Then you sort of have enough money for most things in life. And then what? Like, what happens then? What happened to you in your life? Like, did you get somewhere else? Like, where is that?
I think that, there's an interesting journey that people travel, which is like when you're hungry, you will do whatever it takes to eat. So your moral compass is wider. You're willing to play in gray areas. You're willing to do whatever you have to do to take care of yourself and your family. And as you make money, you start to factor in things like, is what I'm doing good for the world? Is what I'm doing, do I feel good about what I'm doing, and am I proud of it? You start to like take into consideration more factors because you're no longer scarce. You're no longer looking around worried, trying to have enough money to pay the bills and put food on the table. And for me, and I think this happens to a lot of entrepreneurs, is like initially you're chasing freedom of some kind, freedom of time, freedom of money, freedom to put your attention where you want to put it rather than some job you don't like, freedom of location. Like you're looking for something more than what you have. It's just why you're willing to take all the risk of being an entrepreneur. Being an entrepreneur is mentally very tough because all of the pressure is on you. All of it is riding on you, and there's no escape route. There's no stability. It's intense, and it's really not recommended unless you're very strong mentally and you can handle all that pressure. Because as the thing grows, what's interesting is people think as the business grows, it gets easier. No, the pressure gets more and more. The catastrophe of it going wrong gets bigger. Like shit gets more intense as it grows. So as things are seemingly better on the outside, you as the person who's responsible for this whole crazy business that you've made are more and more under duress. So I think what happens is you're searching for some kind of freedom. Then you make enough money to where you can take care of yourself and you can, take care of your family, and you're feeling pretty good. And the next step is, how do I have the people around me taken care of? So then you start trying to hire people and take care of them, or giving to your extended family, or taking care of your community. And then it becomes, how do I take care of the world at large? So basically, as humans, we first want to take care of ourselves. Then we want to take care of the people in our immediate vicinity. And then we want to take care of people further out than that. And the most fun thing you can do with your wealth is share it. How much shit do you want for yourself? I mean, there's only so much consumption that is fun. And we are sold in society that consumption is where it's at. That consumption is the game to play. Buy a Lamborghini and get a gold watch and buy ripped jeans or whatever kind of shit people do with their money. But it's like, you find many, many people who get into this cycle of just consuming things who are miserable, unfulfilled, bored, unhappy. It's like consumption does not bring joy. What brings joy is creation and then sharing, which is why my mission is to serve the world unselfishly and profit. Because I think that, number one, I think that's a description. I think when you're in a role of service, you will profit, both monetarily and otherwise. And two, I think that is where the joy in life is. The joy in life is in the role of service. That's what's fun. That's what feels good. That's what it's about, as far as I'm concerned. And so, for me, it's been like, okay, first I got to take care of myself and my family. I've done that. That's really nice. I started, as I mentioned, with nothing, grew up poor, grew up without, access to the kind of resource that other families had. And once I had taken care of my family, the next step became, well, can I take care of my team? Can I take care of my community? What can I do for the world? Like you play the game of how can you use your creation cycle to support people beyond yourself? And that's where fulfillment lies, I think. I don't know if that answered your question, but that's what I have to say about that.
So did you buy a Lamborghini when you got enough money?
No, I didn't. I have never had the viewpoint that consuming things was going to bring me any kind of fulfillment or joy. Do I like to have nice clothing? Do I like to have nice electronics and a nice car? Sure. But I don't really believe that any object is going to bring me fulfillment. Is it fun to ride my electric skateboard? Yes. Like I'm not anti-consumerism. Clearly, I sell things to people, but I am anti the viewpoint that consuming brings joy, which is what people are conditioned to believe, which is that make money and buy stuff and I will be happy. That is not how it works. How many people do you know that are rich and miserable? What brings fulfillment is relationships, intimacy, connection, a social life, hobbies, work that you're proud of. Like that is what is going to bring you fulfillment and fun. And if you forget that, which is easy to do, and you're just constantly worried about making money, you will not be happy and you won't know why. And it's because making money doesn't do it. Making money, you can't bring money with you when you die. You're going to die. And what do you got when you die? You're not going to be so happy if all you have is a pile of money and you don't have meaningful connections with other people, if you don't have skills that you've mastered, that you've invested in, if you haven't taken care of your physical and mental body. It's like, you got to take a bigger picture than I'm hungry and I want to make money. It's not going to do it. And it's a short-sighted, easy trap to fall into, because all the conditioning you receive from social media is that people with money are cool, and people with money are the ones you want to be like, and people with money are the ones who are really making it in life. Not the case. I can tell you, as someone who went from being one of the poorest people I knew to now being one of the richest people I know, I can tell you money does not do it. Money can buy you comfort to an extent, cannot buy you happiness. And so if you're only investing your energy into the development of money, you're going to find yourself unfulfilled and miserable, and you're not going to know why.
Great. Thank you so much.